Hiatus by 7:30 Lectures is brought to you by OneInManila.com and the John Gokongwei School of Management, Sanggunian.
Steve Benitez. Pleasure having you here. It's just going to be a few questions. We just want our audience to really get to know your story. We're sure it's very valuable for our audience. First question, sir, is what did you take up in college and how was your college experience?
I was taking up AB Management Economics, and my experience was, something that I really like going back to every now and then, and just looking back at that experience. Very, very, very happy, very pleasant, but at the same time also there were times that were challenging as far as subjects are concerned. I really didn't like much of accounting and taxation, so those were my challenging times. But I enjoyed philosophy and theology. That doesn't mean I excelled in it. I just really like talking about it.
Oh, cool. Also, sir, outside of like just academics back when you were in college, could you talk about like what extracurriculars you were part of during your time there?
I joined a few clubs, right? So one of them that I was so active in was ISEC. As a member, I didn't take any leadership role, so I was just really a member of ISEC. And I'm not sure if I was a member of AMA, Ateneo Management Association, but I joined some of the events.
Cool. Also, sir, given that Hiatus, our event, is rooted in entrepreneurship, could you please talk about your business and like what are your services and what market do you cater to?
So my business right now, Bose was not my first business venture. So I had other food business ventures. But if you want to talk about the current business that I'm running, Bose Coffee, I founded that in 1996. But before that year, I had to, study the whole business for 2 years. It was something that I enjoyed doing. Coffee was something that I actually discovered in my trips abroad. But before that, it was just a beverage that I drank to keep me up awake at night to study at law school. But but when I started traveling on a yearly basis to different parts of the world, starting here in Asia and then going farther and farther, I saw myself visiting a lot of coffee shops. I was drawn to the coffee shop experience. And I think that's because just sitting down in a coffee shop, I immerse myself in the local culture and then see a lot of things, happening in the coffee shop, which were exciting. So that's when I first discovered that I really enjoyed the coffee experience. And one of the times that I was in a coffee shop and I was on my way home, I would always miss the fact that I won't enjoy it again until the next trip. And so I said, oh, why don't I just bring this whole experience and share it here to my community. And so I did. But before I did, I had to study the business for 2 years through different means, self-study, books, travel some more, immersion, go to coffee expos and go to seminars abroad, and more sitting down in coffee shops to just to iron out what made me really like the whole experience.
Concerning your market, sir, would you say that Bose Coffee caters more to like the general Filipino community, or do you think it sometimes panders to like, how do I say it, like more affluent people who can enjoy like higher end coffee?
Well, let me every stage of the business it actually catered to different sectors of the market. And then as it matured, it expanded that market to a broader range, right? So when I started the business, which was totally a new concept, and people actually didn't see how it would work because coffee was cheap and free at the time. And here I was selling coffee for 15 pesos for brewed, 25 pesos for cappuccino. And during my market study, everybody said that it wasn't going to work, right? But all I had was guts. I went for it, and the rest is history. But when we started, the initial market were the matured market, because it was the matured market who drank coffee. And then as maybe around 5 years after we opened, the coffee culture and the coffee experience became widely accepted, and the market expanded down all the way to the younger crowd. And now it can even go beyond, it can go even down to high school and some younger, because of the product range that now is being offered in coffee shops. So it really it really depends on the product that you offer and the experience that you're trying to offer, and, and market you're trying to target. So as far as Bosun is concerned, right now our target market is 20 to 35 to 39 years old. That's basically around 60 to 70% of the market.
Wow, that's very large, sir. Oh, sir, so I think it's relevant to talk about COVID-19, especially, since it's the highlight of 2020. And I know that Bose Coffee is one of the more resilient companies here in the Philippines. So could you talk about how the pandemic influenced your business operations? And then what opportunities and struggles did it present?
Okay. So in my 25 years in doing business in Bose Coffee, with Bose Coffee, we've been through ups and downs. There's a lot of challenges. 2007 financial crisis, 1996 when I entered, a year after there was a big Asian crisis in 97. But I've never really encountered this kind of challenge that and for most restaurateurs or entrepreneurs, this is really unprecedented, right? So it was a blind spot. We would never expect that stores would be closed for 5 months now. And but anyway, as the lockdown continued to be implemented, we had to adjust a lot of things. So one of the things that we had to do was, first of all, we had to manage costs and in relation to revenue. So we're matching cost to revenue. That's number one. And number two, we had to negotiate rental terms with our lessors. And the malls have been very cooperative. They extended very supportive rental schemes to all of their tenants that will last us until the end of the year. So we'll see what happens after that. We also negotiated and really got in touch with all of our suppliers, and just to communicate with them that we'll be here. We'll be here for the long term. We'll still continue our business, but also ask for a little bit of patience as we try to manage the pandemic, and so ask for some extended terms or just more friendly terms that would benefit both us and our suppliers as well. Those are just some measures, and then we had to streamline operations, look at some areas where we need to. For the longest time, we're supposed to already cut, but we haven't done that. But I think the pandemic really pushed everyone to streamline operations. And you know what? There are some lessors who were not flexible to the times, and really insisted to collect, or to implement the contract, that the original contract. So for those locations, we had to give it up, right? So
on the topic of COVID-19, because COVID-19 actually accelerated the internet economy. So we have yung mga DoorDash, Grab Delivery, Lala Move, like everything's being sold online. Has Bose Coffee taken any measures to take a part of that internet economy? Like, are you guys selling coffee online or something?
Yes, definitely. But Renan, we did this even before COVID time.
Oh.
So a year. So I already saw that the future growth of any retailer would have to be the digital space, right? So a year and a half ago, we onboarded on a aggregators platform. We started off with that, a few stores just to experiment. And by the end of the year last year, which was around November, December, we had all our stores onboarded already. And
Ah,
so that was a little bit of a good timing, because we
yeah.
did if you did that now, you'll have a hard time onboarding, because everybody wants to be on board, and process takes so long for you to be part of the platform. So we're, as much as possible, we would like to be present in most, if not all, of the platforms, digital platforms. We also open up our own e-store, so you can now buy all our coffee beans and bottled coffee and all of our coffee merchandise in our online store, boastcoffee.com. And then we also onboarded some of our products on other e-commerce platforms as well. So that's where we're very active right now. That's the
Yeah.
space. We're also on an experimental stage on a coffee startup. So that one, we're around on our second month right now in experimentation. So we'll see how that works.
Hopefully it goes well, sir. But wow, so the online segment's really keeping the business afloat right now, sir. Would you say that?
Well, Renan, the digital business is, if you really look at it, it's not going to cover for all the losses that
Yeah.
the offline store uh, had, right? So not in the short term. I mean,
Mm,
if revenue is cut by 70%, you don't expect digital business to cover 70% right away, right? But
mm,
um, m- I'm taking the digital expansion as a build up for the future. It's not about recouping what the losses are because of the pandemic, but it's really more on building what the future should be. Diba? There's a saying that if you want to predict the future, you create it right now. So that's what we're
mhm.
trying to do.
Sir, this is super inspiring. Could you please give a message and advice to future entrepreneurs and like what they should be doing or traits that they should try to attain so that they can mirror the same success that you have as an entrepreneur?
Okay, you know what? I think the principles in entrepreneurship are, and the foundation of entrepreneurship are going to remain the same, whatever era, whatever stage you are in, right? So if back in the 80s and 90s compared to now, the principles will be the same. It's just that the opportunities around will be on different fields. So a lot of those were were available for us 20, 30 years ago, which is mostly traditional businesses, are not going to be the same opportunities that you guys will have moving forward. But the principles are, so if you entrepreneurs, I always say that you have to find a merge between three things. This is uh, what you love to do, what you like to do, what you're good at, and what the world or the market needs. So if you find that uh, i- merge or the commonality among those three, then that would be ideal that you should get into. But I think the premise of that is really find a problem you want to solve, right? So pain points that people are having in are experiencing right now, right? So for example, for us in the coffee business, if people can go to coffee shops and they can't socialize or have interaction with people, that's a problem we're trying to say, oh, how can we solve that? I mean, is it enough for us just to deliver coffee to their houses, in their homes, or wherever they are? So, we're still cracking that thing. We're still just really saying, okay, let's deliver that coffee product to their house, but you're missing the social interaction side, right? So that's something we still need to hack and crack, and it doesn't happen overnight and over one session of brainstorming. So basically, yeah, that's the if you guys want to get into entrepreneurship is not for everyone, right?
Mhm.
And I always share a story of one of my employees who wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so she resigned from her job because she felt that she wanted to have control of her time. and she wanted to have financial independence. She felt like, oh, businessman, entrepreneurs, you're more successful. You earn more money, right? And you have control of your time. You don't have to go to work at 8:30. You don't have to go clock out at 5:30. So those two reasons, she did uh, go. She went to entrepreneurship, and only to find out after 6 months to a year after, um, those two were actually, it's even worse. She lost all the money she had. So she was now in a worse position when she started. So she's not financially independent. And being an entrepreneur is a 24-hour job, right? So having control of your time is not necessarily true, right? Being an entrepreneur, anytime you can be called for a problem at work. You can be called to solve a problem, HR problem. So it's not for everyone, but if you get really if you really focus on what you're doing and put all the right elements together, it's also very rewarding. So I think you just have to find what you're really good at, and if you feel like this is where you want to go, then you have to go for it. And finally, Renan, no, for maybe as final advice to young entrepreneurs, you have a, yeah. During my time, this was not available, but at this point, you can actually find mentors to help you out, so you avoid a lot of those mistakes that your mentors did before. So if you can, when you jump into an entrepreneurship, then I suggest you find a mentor to help you out, just to just to bounce your ideas back and forth, and he or she can give you advice on what to do and what to avoid. So find a mentor. That's my last advice.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. That's pretty much the whole interview. There's a lot of value from it, actually. Thank you so much, sir.
Yun na. Okay. Thank you.